Hey. Round one of the NBA playoffs is done, and it was genuinely one of the best first rounds, at least I remember, in a very, very long time. I'm going to go through each series, give my thoughts, and then do a preview for the next couple of series at the end, because my prediction was wrong, shockingly, for a couple of the series. So, let's go. The first series that wrapped up was the Thunder versus the Suns, and that went how everyone expected. The Suns got sent packing. I mean, what can you do against that Thunder team, though? Really, if you're the Suns, I don't like the Suns because I really can't stand Grayson Allen. I don't like Dylan Brooks, and it was really fun to see them get sent home in really good fashion, and Shea making fun of Dylan Brooks as well. Kind of warms my heart, makes me a very happy person. But yeah, I mean, it has me worried for the next round for my Lakers, but I mean, Shea had a great series. The rest of that roster has played solid as well, and it's hard to see where they're going to lose a series and where they're going to fall apart. If they do fall apart, because they're just that solid of a team, and I mean, not that any team in that plane was really going to put up much of a fight. It just was about as exciting of a one-way series as you can get, I guess. Second series, Spurs. So Spurs beat the Trailblazers in 5, ended up winning that one 4-1, and that was what most people would have expected before the series happened. I think I had the Spurs in 4, in all honesty, but Wemby went down with that concussion in Game 2. A scary-looking concussion as well, coming from like an Australian sports fan who... Their rules and regulations, especially in like AFL and NRL, are super strict on that. It was like, oh, that looks quite bad, and he's just like he was out cold for a little bit. Wemby was slept. But overall, like it wasn't super exciting this series. It was another one of those ones of like, what would you really expect it to be, because it's a team as good as the Spurs versus a team like that is young and exciting like the Trailblazers, and I think they should be really excited for their future with Dame coming back. But yeah, I mean, they put up a decent fight. What else can you really say? When Wemby was out, you win that one game. So Scoot had a good series, had a kind of a breakout series. I am a big fan of Scoot's game. I do think he kind of fell off towards the end of the series, but aside from that, I was quite happy with the way he played and excited to see how he progresses. Oh, that guard rotation though on the Spurs as well. When Wemby went out, like, you have so many guards that can just pop off. Like, it is actually insane. I don't know how teams can really guard that. You genuinely just can't. So, next series wrapped up was the Knicks versus the Hawks, and this was a very exciting series. Although it ended with a 50-point blowout. How do you lose by that much in a playoff game? Genuinely. Like, how do you do it? I am astounded. Any Atlanta fans out there, I feel for you, because you don't want to deal with that. That's horrible. Back to the rest of the series. It started off a bit shaky for the Knicks, and I had faith that they were eventually going to really turn it around and figure it out, but it was just their rotations I think they got wrong. I think that the way that Brown was running his rotations wasn't super effective. I think that you either have to have Cat or Brunson on the court at all times. If you don't, you're not going to win as a basketball team, and I think that it took him a while to get that really down pat. It is a bit alarming still that you don't really know which bench player is going to give you what, especially this far into your season. You're into the second round now, you have to figure that out. Like, you need to figure that out. There's no, oh, we still got time. You don't. You can't afford to have a mess up like those 2 games you messed up against Atlanta, because other teams are going to capitalize on that more. OG Anunoby had a great series. Brunson finished off the series super well. Cat had a pretty consistent series. Like, it was just a very good series, like a good fight back for them, and just they showed some grit, and they continued to prove why they are a good team, and I personally think they're a little bit slept on how strong they are in that Eastern Conference. Best round. Best series. What they gonna say now? The Lakers beat Houston in 6. What did I say? I said Lakers in 6. Not even biased at all, you know? But Lakers in 6. Where do I start, man? This Lakers team, man. The first 3 games were genuinely insane start to the series. LeBron, at his age, doing the stuff he was. But I want to point out, like, Luke Kennard had an incredible start to the series. Like, his game 1 and 2 were incredible. He did such a good job. And the Lakers, as JJ Redick, like, insane. Like, round of applause to JJ Redick. I think you have to give him so much credit, because he schemed this Houston Rockets team perfectly. Obviously, KD goes down. And that isn't, like... My issue with that is, like, people are going to be like, they started, like, talking about the Lakers, like, oh, of course no. The way that the media covered this beforehand, it was the Lakers had 0 chance. Stephen A. Smith, I'm looking at you. You said the Lakers had no chance. You said LeBron was going to get swept. Like, I don't understand why everyone was so down on this, and I can't understand it to some extent, but LeBron wasn't going to go down like that, respectfully. He wasn't. And he proved, again, why he's the greatest of all time. at his age, having a series like that is genuinely insane. And the first two games were so defensively dominant, and the Lakers' offense was good. And then that third game, watching that third game live was like genuinely like insane. Like that last 24 seconds, that is the turning point of the series there. You know, if you're Houston, you lose your first away game, and you're like, you know what, we win our home court games, we try and steal one in LA, and we come back and we win this. But game 3 was the collapse of that team just proves why you need a point guard, and I think you hurt from not having Fred there. But I don't understand why they didn't go out in the regular season and try and get one at the trade deadline. But if you look at like how cheap someone like Dosunmu was, or you have other point guards around the league that they were really cheap that you could get to help your team, and they just refused to do that, was quite interesting to me. But there's that whole passage. If you go back and watch the passage, that first pass that leads to that foul on the Marcus Smart 3 never should have been done. And that's just them showing their age a bit. But Jabari Smith throwing a pass that is never there. A pass that isn't necessary and is never there. Marcus Smart reads it well, gets fouled. Jason, like, that game, Bronny outscored the whole Rockets bench as well, by the way. Like, a horrible foul there. Marcus Smart makes all 3. And then you have the Lakers managing to get that steal and that 3-point. Like, I genuinely thought LeBron was going to hit that game winner as well in regular time. Like, he had a decent look at it as well, and it looked good. It just, like, look, as close as you can get without getting it in, right? But genuinely, like, they played that game so well, and then having all that momentum into overtime, of course they were going to win that overtime. Like, it was just insane. The Rockets did come back and give the Lakers a bit of a scare, and it does give me a bit of worry of the Lakers' offense. Those 2 games the Lakers they shot really poor. Like, across the board, they just couldn't buy a bucket, unfortunately. And obviously they go back into Houston and they close it out, there was a fair few people overreacting to those 2. LeBron wasn't going to let that get to 7, in all honesty. You could just see him come out in Game 6 and close it out. Austin getting some feedback under him is also nice as well. The Lakers play on Wednesday in Australia, so Tuesday in America. So there's a bit more time to rest. And then, obviously, you don't know about Luka. But overall, like, JJ Redick, he needs to be respected a lot more as a coach. He did such a good job. Like, this Lakers team doesn't win the series without him coaching like that. And LeBron putting up the stats and just, if you watch the way he controls that offense and the way the Lakers, it is a huge thing to adjust from running the basketball they were to running it without Luka and Austin for that start of that series. Because you changed the whole way your team is structured to play around a completely different player. And that's what they've done here, and they did such a stellar job of it. Rui showing in that last game as well, and early on as well. He's shooting, 50% from 3? Like, he is shooting super well, and he's such an important piece to that team when he is. And you even had DeAndre Ayton having a good couple games, Hayes having a good couple games. Obviously, neither of them are consistent, but if you can get a good game out of either of them, it is really exciting. I'm really interested to see what kind of fight they can put up. I am actually so happy. Like, bro, I could not have asked for a better series from the Lakers. Like, it was, bro, like, genuinely, bro, grass is greener, sky's more blue, you know? Like, frolicking in the fields, bro. Genuinely insanely good series. Having KD wave goodbye to Ayton for the softest ejection I've ever seen as well, by the way. And then us being able to wave back at him is also pretty funny. So, Timberwolves, next series. So Timberwolves versus Nuggets, an insanely good series. I had the Timberwolves going through in 7, and that was me thinking the Timberwolves are going to get healthy, then they're going to go through it, and they've proven that they can scheme against this team very well. Chris Finch, insanely good coach in my opinion, and I was right to some extent. Obviously the Timberwolves go through in 6, right? But Anthony Edwards isn't healthy for this series, which is the insane part about it. I'm going to go over the Timberwolves first. I want to praise them. Then I'm going to kind of have a rip into the Nuggets real quick. The Timberwolves did such a good job, and there's so many players I want to praise. There's the general coaching I want to praise as well, because it's just an insanely good team effort. First off, Anthony Edwards comes back, and in that game 2 when they win, like, he looks so good. Like, he looks really healthy, he looks really aggressive, and even at the start of game 3, and there's parts of game 1 where he looks good, and then he hyperextends that knee again. And he goes down that same game, game 3, Dante DiVincenzo does his Achilles, which is another, like, a horrible injury, which then means he's out for the rest of the series. Luckily, Ayo Dosunmu has a good game in game 3, right? And he steps up and he gets them through that game. But then you're thinking, you know what, no Anthony Edwards, no DiVincenzo. The Nuggets are going to come back, they're going to win this series just because that, like, for health reasons, if nothing else, right? Wrong. So next game, Ayo legacy game, bro. Legacy game. Like, he dropped 43 and he wins. He brings the Timberwolves up and wins them a game. Like, insane. Genuinely such a good effort by him. Rudy Gobert, insane aura game this series. He did such a good job. Like, Rudy Gobert's stock was like here, it's like up here now. He genuinely did such a good job. He did such a good job of managing to just guard Jokic super well. He made Jokic have a bad series, and offensively, he was probably the best production I've seen from him in a playoff series. Rudy Gobert, like skyhook, he played such a good series. And for a player that is so constantly disrespected, for him to do something like that, I think it is so good for him in general, because he's going to get so much, he's going to be regarded so much better because of that. And then, Jaden McDaniels, insane aura gamble, right? What did he do? End of game 2, they win their first game. You know what he does? He calls out every single starter, plus multiple bench players on the Nuggets roster, calling them bad defenders by name. Like, do you know how insane that is? To do that, and not only does he do that, he proves himself right. He goes out and he cooks them. You watch game 6 or 5, he genuinely cooks them. And like, he does such a good job. And it is crazy to me that he does that, and the Nuggets just have no answer. Like, he had such a good series here, like, on and off the court, right? Like, they do such a good job. But then you get to game 6 anyway. No Ayo as well. So the play that saved them, partially in game 3 and absolutely in game 4, is out. So the Nuggets should win this game easily, but they don't. So let's go on to the Nuggets. Their defense was abhorrent. There's no positives from their defense at all. Jokic had a really bad offensive series. If you look past the box, like, he's a player. It's also like sometimes with Luka, you look at their numbers and you're like, well, they had like a almost 30-point triple-double. They had a 25-point triple-double. They must have played well, but it's not always the case. And with Jokic, that was absolutely the go this time. Like, he put those numbers up, but he just offensively, like, he wasn't that much of a super threat. He wasn't playmaking super well, and on top of that, his defense was so bad that he was just a negative in general. Like, he was a negative. And you have like a player like Christian Braun, who you've given all that money to. He was unplayable in that last game. He was. And there's so many pieces around this Nuggets team that you're going to have to look at moving. Like, I don't know what you do in the offseason. You have to look at getting that Christian Braun money off. Aaron Gordon's never available. You might have to look at moving him on. I would keep Jamal Murray and Jokic there, but it is just such a absurd situation that they are a team with that much talent and they put up such a stinker of a playoff series. Even though it's a 3 and a 6 seed. Like, the Nuggets wanted this matchup, by the way. They wanted this matchup and they get embarrassed like that. It is such an embarrassment for the Nuggets that I don't know what you do next. Like, Jokic stocks has never been so low. He's still an insanely good basketball player, don't get me wrong. But he needs to be able to do something on that defense. Otherwise, yeah, it's wraps. Like, they just did such a bad job. I'm still like, as much as I like that Timberwolves team, I'm shocked. 76ers versus the Celtics. When I say that when Boston lose, I get happier, I mean it. And Boston lost really, really bad, and that is awesome. That makes me so happy. Like, grass is greener, sky is more blue. Like, dude, I'm actually so happy. And the way they lost too, as well. I was someone coming into this playoffs that, yes, I had the Celtics going through the first round, which thank goodness I was wrong about, but I didn't have them going through the second round. I don't understand why so many people were so high on them. I know this Eastern Conference is weaker than the West, but this Celtics team clearly isn't as strong as they won last year, and they won last year. Even if Tatum doesn't go down with that injury, they lose that Knicks series, absolutely. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. Like, they weren't good enough, and this roster's clearly worse. The supporting cast is worse. That was proven with this series. I don't understand why people were so high on them. Maybe it's just because I hate them. I don't know. But, like, the Celtics, like, obviously no Tatum in Game 7, but still, you didn't play with Tatum majority of the season, so you should have known what to do. Joe Mazzulla's rotations were really confusing for me in Game 7. Like, maybe he was trying to do something different, switch it up, so it was harder to predict, but it clearly didn't work. Like, Jaylen Brown didn't have a stellar series. Derek White had a good last game, but I don't think he had a good series either. But that supporting cast, you're going to have to look at, like, you're going to have to move Vooch on. I don't know if they bring back Anthony Simon. Like, it's just, there's a lot of pieces in that team that I don't know what you do with now if you're Boston. And Boston, as much as I hate them, I have to respect how good of a GM, like, how good run they've been, especially in the front office. So they're going to make the right moves, probably. But it is just an embarrassing way to lose a series is like that. Like, they should not have lost that series, realistically. But now we go to Philly, and round of applause for Philadelphia, bro. Philadelphia were insanely good. Like, the way they survived without Joel Embiid, like, it's a good job. But when Joel Embiid comes back, he has that one game where he's kind of shaken off his rust a bit, and he doesn't play well. They lose that game, whatever. Then the rest of the series, this does so much for his legacy. I'm a person that likes Joel Embiid, right? I respect the way he plays. I respect how good of a scorer he is. And I found that he played even, I don't know how bad his injury is in that from Game 7, but he just did such a good job across the board, right? And he comes back, he makes such a huge difference, and he drags Philly over the line. Paul George, whatever Paul George took to get him that 25-game suspension was absolutely worth those 25 games. It was. It genuinely was. Because you watch this series, and you watch since he's come back, he's been so good, not just offensively, but defensively. You're almost getting prime Paul George clamps. Like, it's insane. It is insane how good of a defender he's been. And it doesn't make any sense. It generally doesn't. But he's come back out of nowhere, been this good. Tyrese Maxey, insanely good as well. Like, you watch the end of that Game 7 as well, he's like hitting like disgusting shots. He genuinely is. And there's nothing that the Celtics could do about it because he cooked them. That's what he did. He did that. And it is so good for this Philly team to finally get past this Boston team that haven't beat the Celtics in a playoff series since, the 80s or something like that. Insane, right? But it is so good for them to get past that. On top of that, another thing I want to bring up with the Celtics, Joel Embiid's out there injured, right? And he's a big body. So if you're taking him direct, it's still going to be not super easy to make shots up. The fact that they didn't, try and make him have to go over and help defense, or, if he's standing here, and you're driving at him, the fact that you're not having someone trying to back cut or come through come through the side here, so he has to make that adjustment and turn. The fact that how little they did that is insane to me. Joe Mazzulla, I think he's a good coach. I don't like his off-court stuff, but I think he is a very good coach. And obviously you're not going to fire him, but I'm very confused on how he ended this series. And I mean, in Boston, you have to make some changes. You do. Detroit came back as well. They beat Orlando Magic. That's good. Now, first off, let's get this out of the way. Jalen Duren, what are you doing, man? Jalen Duren has genuinely lost himself money in that series. He's going to have to claw his way back against Cleveland. But for a player that created so well for himself during the regular season, even when Cade was out, I don't know, what happened. He just kind of, I don't know. He needs to get in the gym and get some damn shots up. Because I don't know what else he's going to be able to do to try and show that improvement. And I like Detroit. Detroit is my favorite team in the Eastern Conference. I want them to come out of the Eastern Conference. I really do. And the way they need Duren to step back up, they do. Luckily, Cade Cunningham played out of his mind here. And he cooked. Genuinely, bro. Those last few games, he just puts that team on his back like he's done this season. And he's such a good fourth quarter player as well. Insane. I didn't get to watch the Game 6 live. I was at work, but refreshing the Google tab on that one, you see halftime, I'm like, damn, they're down by 22. I'm like, there's a chance, but I'm not really the way that they played this series. Then Orlando Magic decided to become the worst offense ever made. Their offense, I'm very interested to see what they do with their coach, and watching his press conference as well. I just don't think I don't think he's the right fit necessarily. And I hate how often coaches get blamed, but their offense has been so bad all season, and he couldn't figure out a way to do something with the players and the pieces he had to make a consistent offense. And obviously the offense isn't missing 23 field goals in a row bad like what they did in the fourth quarter. They went 45 real minutes. 45 real minutes not hitting a shot. You know how insane that is? You know how bad you have to be to do that? You genuinely have to suck at basketball to do that. You must do. Anyway, you move that on. You look at that. Their defense was okay, but they just couldn't close it out. They were up 3-1. Detroit never should have been 3-1 down. And Orlando Magic should have. It's not even they were 3-1 up and then Detroit cooked them the next 3 games. No, Orlando had a 22-point lead at halftime against the Pistons in Game 6 at home. And you choke that. Yeah, I'm very intrigued to see that second round as well. So going back to Detroit, Bickerstaff, I love JB Bickerstaff. For his sake, I hope he gets revenge against the Cavs. I do, because I think he is a very good coach. I think he got fired too quick. I really hope he can prove that he can coach that next step and coach that championship contending team. And obviously, the big issue with the Pistons is their shooting. They don't have any shooting to space the floor, and they should have gone out and gone for someone that can shoot the ball like more than what they did at the trade deadline. Obviously, it's what's available, but I think they just need players that can shoot more, and you can't do anything about that now. So it's going to be interesting to see how the rest of their run goes. But I was very happy with Detroit. I'm very excited for Detroit versus the Cavs. Cleveland. This was another really, really good series. It was a series that the home team won every single game, which you don't see super often, but it is like Cleveland managed to scrape away with the win. Now, James Harden overall, I wouldn't say had a very good playoff series. Donovan Mitchell was a bit patchy, but he was pretty solid. Evan Mobley, really good. And they did such a good job in games 1 and 2. And the reason I was worried they were going to kind of run away with it a little bit was in games 1 and 2, when you watch like the way that the offense was running through Cleveland, how dominant they were with even James Harden to an extent and Donovan Mitchell. It allowed Evan Mobley to kind of just go to work and ISO and have those plays, and he just showed that he could actually kind of dribble a bit and he attacked the rim, and he just was such a good third option in that series. But if you're the Raptors, I don't think you're that upset with that. Obviously, Brandon Ingram had a horrible series. He genuinely did. There's nothing you can do about that. He did go down with an injury in Game 6, I believe it was, but might have been Game 5. But Brandon Ingram basically wasn't there anyway. So you do like it is what it is for them, right? But I think when you look over the way that this series went, if you're a Toronto fan, you should be happy. Shout out Molly and Brandon as well. They were at that game, so they got to see Game 3, I believe it was. I'm not even jealous that they got the shirts or anything. So yeah, I don't even care that they got a shirt from an NBA game. So yeah, whatever. Go to see a playoff game. But like such a good fight from this Raptors team. Scotty Barnes, I am going out on a limb. He was the best player in that series. He was. Like the amount of people that should be looking at him as a future top 10 to 15 player in the NBA should be a lot now. There needs to be more respect put on Scotty Barnes' name. Put respect on Scotty. Like, he did such a good job. And I'm interested to see what moves they make. Because obviously they're going to make a couple of moves. Like, I think they should do. And I'm very excited to see where they go with that. Because they are a very, very intriguing team for me. And I think they're going to be very exciting to watch again next year. It is a shame they go out in 7. But overall, I think if you're the Raptors, you should be very happy with the way that your team fought. Anyway, if you made it, made it this far, I'd really appreciate a subscription. That'd be cool. I really appreciate if you did make it this far as well. It means a lot to me. So, yeah. Shout out the setup as well. I got some stuff. You know, shout out Speed Racer, Lewis Hamilton, Lebron, Carmelo. My cards, if come here. Look how cool these cards are. These are very cool. LeBron high school card, insane. Like, if you can tell, I love Carmelo Anthony, LeBron, and then you also got Ben Wallace there, Magic Johnson's there as well. Mick and Larry Bird, got Tweety Bird. This is kind of like my shells, yeah, you know. Peace.